Hello, welcome to episode 13. I think Anushka, say hi.
Hi.
Um,
Hello.
I think I'm just I think this should be our intro. I think every episode I'm just gonna say, hey, welcome to episode whatever. Anushka, say hi and let's
Hi.
do it. That's a good way to start an episode, I think. I finished my lunch. I have some nice filter coffee.
How did you eat lunch so fast?
It was already there. I just needed to heat it up a bit. And then I
Beautiful. Nice.
ate some pongal khichdi types. And some leftover pizza was there. Not the greatest, but yeah, we'll have to do for now.
Let's not talk about food anymore because I don't have any food and I would have to cook food if I want to eat, and it's midnight, and so I probably shouldn't cook. So let's talk about something else.
Talk about something else. So we were talking about hyperfixations on the last episode, and
Yes, that's
I
a good talk.
was yeah. So what are you hyperfixated on right now?
I was going to ask you that because
I asked first.
okay. I can tell you like. hmm. Okay, so I had phases. I've had so many hyperfixation phases.
Hmm.
Most of them are for comfort. Uh, last month or last first 2 months of the year, I was hyperfixated on romance novels. I
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm going back into that phase. Before that, I think during the pandemic, I had that phase. We probably were there. I don't know, but was about I would watch horror movies series before bed.
Oh,
So
I remember this phase. Yeah. Oh, I remember this phase. Yeah. Yes, I
so
was just shocked every time you would tell me. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go watch a horror movie and then go to sleep. Okay, you
I
do.
feel better. And I don't like those comic horror movies. I
Hmm.
like serious and
Horror, horror.
not even the gory ones like which with
Hmm.
blood and stuff. I don't want. I want
Hmm.
smart horror like
Like,
the haunting series,
hmm.
the I forgot, the haunting on the hill or
Kill.
whatever it's,
Yeah.
yeah, that series was.
Hmm.
I really liked them because they felt very smart horror. I
Hmm.
like smart horror
Right.
uh because it's like it needs to make me feel uh scared from the inside.
Dead. Yeah. Horror
Just
doesn't necessarily mean ghosts and paranormal activities. You can have a lot. You can take any story and make it into a horror movie if you really want it. And you can add these supernatural elements and
yeah.
paranormal things to sort of heighten that horror. So it's all in the story, and depending on what you're saying.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be disgusting or like bloody. I don't like
Yes.
bloody or disgusting horror. It could
Mm,
be like part of it, but it shouldn't all be about the
mm,
blood, the noise, and the
right.
uh yeah, just not that. Okay, sorry, your question, current hyperfixations. I think I haven't been in one place too
Mm,
long, last couple of weeks to have grown a hyperfixation.
mm,
I have a lemonade drink that I am hyper fixating on in terms of drinks. Yeah, that's the only drink like that I like drinking. And in terms of food, there is noodles, like any
mm,
form, noodles in any form.
mm,
I need like that's sort of my comfort food. And there isn't a series, but last like this month or last few weeks I was also hyper fixated on One Day, the series on Netflix.
Yes, I know it. I remember it because everyone was talking about it when one day came out, the series on Netflix.
I
Yeah.
think I watched it the day it came out, and I'd
Mm,
forgotten that I had watched the movie before, and it was just then I was hyper fixated on that for a bit. Uh, uh, Now I don't know. Now it's just nothing very particular because I think I haven't stayed at a place for a bit, but it will
mm,
slowly come up, I think.
mm.
Once. in my routine, there will be one thing that I'm just like
Hmm.
hyper focused on, and I'm just on it.
Hmm.
You you tell me. You mentioned that you
Okay.
were,
Yeah,
yes,
I'm
yes.
excited. Because I've been so hyper fixated on a bunch of things, and this whole concept of being very hyper fixated on particular topics for a fixed amount of time. I I have never seen this word, but as soon as I heard what hyperfixation is, suddenly it's like I'm seeing the matrix. Everything made sense to me because I've been doing this for so long, where I keep jumping from one thing to another, and it's like short lived. There is no point to it, and then I move on, and I may even forget about it. But at some later day, I still know I was weirdly fixated on a few things, and this has happened for so long. Okay. And I've never really put a word to it, but yes, I know. Now I have a bracket, I have a bucket to live under. Finally have a name. And since you were speaking about phases of hyperfixation, I think the earliest phase that I can remember was maybe when I discovered movies and the sort of impact it had. I was fascinated. Okay, so I just dove in. Like that was like, okay, this is my personality for whatever, and now the rest of time. So I was hyper fixated on movies and filmmaking. So all I would consume is just that. I would just read interviews. I would just watch interviews. I would watch a movie and then I would see what everyone says about that movie, and then I would read different articles breaking down different movies. And I was in that bubble for a long time. That would be like my major hyperfixation for a good number of years. And then in between, I had a lot of small minor ones. I remember once I was really obsessed with how do I say this? Like tools and building, like prop making. I was obsessed with prop making because of Adam Savage. Have you seen the Mythbusters? When it was coming on. Okay, Adam Savage was on the Mythbusters. It was a show on Discovery where they would sort of take popular myths like, hey, you put a Mentos in a Pepsi can, it'll explode. We all know it because we've heard about it or we've seen it, but I've never done it. Or things like, for example, in Breaking Bad, if you've seen, they have some acid. If you pour, it'll go through the ceiling and stuff like that. So they would take all of these popular myths and try to bust them. Are they real? Are they not real? And that was the show. And the show ended, and Adam Savage has his YouTube channel. So Adam Savage is a popular prop maker. He was on Veta Studios before they were like digital. So they would make costumes and all the props that you see in popular sci-fi movies and all of those. ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, they did
Oh
all the,
yes, I know them.
yeah, ILM did all the fighters, all the models for the Star Wars movies and everything.
Yes, because they also worked on virtual production, and I
Yeah.
did speak with someone from them, I think.
Yep, Industrial Light and Magic was in fact made for Star Wars. And then, yeah, everything has happened. So he used to work on that, and he's worked with a lot of props. So he's a huge film geek, which was great for me because I was already in that sphere. So he would talk about all of these props that are in the movies and how he would make it. And he would make 50-minute, 1 hour long videos of making the props. Okay. So I was obsessed with his channel. Every day he would build something new. I would sit and watch, and I was obsessed with like machines and like how to cut stuff and how to polish things and all of this. It was so fascinating for me, but it was a short amount of time, and then I moved on. Okay, and all of these things I was thinking about over the past 2 weeks actually, because I've never, after I found out this concept that, oh, some people are hyper fixated on things and keep moving on, like, oh man, yeah, so much makes sense.
I feel like you're on that journey, which I was about a few years back, where I was like, oh, it all makes sense. It
Yeah,
all
yeah,
makes
yeah. Yes,
sense.
yes, it all
I
makes sense.
constantly, like, even when I would talk to my parents, I say, it all makes sense. Like,
Yep.
all my childhood, everything sort of suddenly makes
Yep.
sense.
So this is a new thing where I saw some post on Instagram or something where they were talking about you should talk to your parents and ask them how you were as a kid. And I'm like, shit, I need to do that because I don't remember a lot of what I used to do as a kid. So I needed. I just think, oh, I don't remember anything. I was probably just sitting by myself, but I don't know. So I need to talk to my parents. I was thinking I'll do it today and I'll ask my mom, please give me more information about myself because I need it.
So growing up, like I remember a little, like most I think of my childhood, but
Mm,
growing up, my mom would always tell me that she's just like she would always crib about people to me about like
mm,
Anushka's like she wants to eat apple, 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 and then she suddenly does not want to eat apple, and then she's like banana, 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 and I like, yeah, it was that even as a kid, but I would just eat like I have hyperfixation, not sort of like outfits. Like I would wear just one sort of outfit for the longest time, and then I would move on from it.
mm.
Like I would wear pants and a white t-shirt, and then I'm happy wearing it for the rest of the week or weeks to come. Of course, I would wash it. Not, I'm
Yes.
not like that, but just the same kind of outfit again and again because I'm very comfortable in it, and
Yep.
then suddenly it will switch and then I would wear this kind of outfit
Mm,
constantly. So it would happen through that. And even songs, like I would play songs on repeat, like one song on repeat for weeks,
yep.
weeks, and
I
then
still
suddenly
do it. I still
I
do
would
it.
go, oh, tell me your current
Oh, my
hyperfixation song.
current
Tell me
hyperfixation
mine.
song, Pratik Kohat's Carbon Dioxide. Yes,
It's
because
good.
I have never heard it up until a few weeks ago. Can you imagine? Like, or a few months ago. Yeah, first time I heard it, I'm like, oh wow, this song is amazing, and I am now obsessed.
The best way to know also your hyperfixation songs are if you use Spotify, is Spotify on repeat because it has like a list of songs that
Hmm.
I was constantly playing on loop
Yep.
for the longest times.
I
And
listen to things on repeat so often. Man, it's crazy.
it just helps me do stuff or
Yep.
just makes me feel comfortable.
Yep.
I think hyperfixation is also a lot about comfort because you
Yeah, it
just
is a lot about comfort.
hmm,
I think in the same way, what you said, you would wear the same kind of clothes. I do the exact same thing. I remember my phases. I in high school, like seventh to tenth and all. You remember 3/4 pants when they were a thing? Like
yes,
they were not shorts, but they're not full pants. They would like just below your knee.
yeah.
I had a 3/4 pant phase. All I would do is wear 3/4 pants. Anywhere I go, whatever I do, I'm wearing 3/4 pants. And then I grew out of it. And then I think in college I became a hoodie. I became a hoodie guy. So I would always wear a t-shirt and a hoodie. That's it. T-shirt, hoodie, and I wear my Converse. I still wear my Converse. I don't change. I don't like
Was also
changing
a
shoes.
hoodie person in college. I wore hoodies everywhere, like all the time in college. At one point, like they started calling me the hoodie person in
Yes,
my
same, same,
bathrooms because
same. That was my identity.
no matter the weather, if it was summer, if it was winter, I
Oh
wore
my
a hoodie.
God. Yes. I would be wearing hoodies in the summer, and my friend would be so confused. Like, bro, why are you wearing a hoodie? I'm like, I just like it. It's fine. Like, don't question me. Okay, this is me.
I would, with in college, I would always have like during different years of college, I would always
Mm,
have like my arms fully covered
mm,
because I would go on my scooter.
mm.
Uh, and I had learned the lesson the hard way that if you have a jacket or something on, when you fall, it doesn't like scrape
Scrape, yep.
that much. So I would always have hoodie on, and I would
Mm.
also have my Converse on always.
Oh
My
my God, you're a
my
hoodie and a Converse
Yes,
person. You're
and I
literally
really,
me.
really liked my Converse, and I still have them, but now I don't use them as much. I don't have them here. They are like price positions that are
Yeah.
kept in Pune because I haven't been able to. I had the the high top black ones, the all
Mm.
black all star, which I really really like because it went
Same.
with everything.
Mm,
You could just wear it with anything you and
mm.
dresses, skirts, shorts, everything. It would go with everything, and I really really like them. And I have been trying to find them so I could like also because every time I would go back to Pune, I would wear them, and I was like, I love them so much, but they started fading. I was like, I don't want to use them too much because they're
Yeah.
almost dying. I've been
Yeah.
using them for like more than 10 years now.
Yep.
Yeah, so I am still on a search to find them. And they're just so expensive if you just buy them on like on an outlet. And I don't
Yeah.
want to spend so much money. I got them like I got my first Converse for like 700 rupees.
Oh my God.
700
Same.
rupees.
My first Converse was 1,200 rupees. I still remember.
I got such a good discount. It was on sale. I think they didn't know what they were selling, or they didn't know the value. It was like so many years back.
Mm.
Like got them, and I have loved them ever since. What color were your Converse?
Black, or black Converse.
No.
And so I brought them here, by the way. I didn't leave them, so I brought them here. But now they've gotten very old. I've been wearing them for 8 years, maybe or more. Yeah, probably 8 years because in undergrad I bought them. So way more than that. But now I finally bought new Converse here after coming here from the Converse store. So the other ones are
Anushka.
still here. I've kept them to the side because I don't know, I just don't feel nice throwing them away. So
Yeah,
it's still
yeah,
there.
same.
Yeah, so it's still there, but I'm wearing new shoes. The new shoes that I've bought again was Converse. I haven't changed. It's my primary. It's just comfy. Okay, and even now, a lot of times I'll wear hoodie and I feel so nice. Like, oh,
Yeah,
I feel like myself. This is my identity.
yeah.
I have jackets here. Oh my God, I'm gonna show you a picture. I have one jacket here that I wear. I have been wearing them for more than 12 years now, and I have the same jacket. And I have one picture of me from like way back when I bought them, and I look like two different people. I will show it to you once the podcast is done.
Okay.
But like, yeah, clothes. I love preserving old clothes. I don't know what it is. Am I a
Same.
hoarder? Are we hoarders?
I think so a little bit, but we're also sustainably using our clothes because we're
Yeah,
still
I don't.
having
Yeah, to be fair, I don't buy clothes that often or shoes that often.
same. I
So,
I thrifted clothes a lot when I got here because I didn't come here with enough clothes. I came with
mm,
like one suitcase of clothes and one suitcase of
mm,
food. They're balancing it out.
yeah,
So I bought like a lot of like I thrifted a lot of clothes. But I still like I when I go back to Pune and I preserving my clothes when I wear them, I just feel so good. I was like, I don't want to wear you enough, so you get ruined. But I really like
yeah.
wearing you.
I just wear them all the time. I've been wearing the track pants that I wear at home. Uh, I don't even remember how old they are. That's how long I've been wearing them. I've been wearing them for as long as I can remember. And it's not even mine, it's my brother. So who knows how old this track pant is? But yeah, that is a history of hyperfixations. Coming to what I'm hyperfixated on now. Wait, I had something else that I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, on the topic of hyperfixations, uh, the one thing that I really liked, and maybe one of the reasons to even further those fixations, was that I felt part of this small community or like a niche, right? Like I felt like, I'm in on it. I'm in on the joke, or I'm in on these like things, this knowledge, or
Yes.
whatever it may be. So it was pretty nice that I had like this community of like people who are also into the same thing. So that also sort of
Yeah.
like motivated me to continue in all of those things. And I
But
remember
then you
at the time,
can
because I was by myself, it was pretty nice to have my
yes.
own world there.
And then you can also like it's also hopping sort of in a
Yes.
way because you
Yes.
stay for a bit and then you
Yeah.
hop into a different set
Yes.
of
And then you can
community.
visit back whenever you want. They're like, oh, I used to watch all of these things. Damn, that's pretty cool.
It's also sort of in a way mhm, okay, that's something that maybe you will relate to or not, I don't know, but personally that for someone who like me who moved around a lot and
Mm-hmm.
had to constantly make new friends, it was
Mm-hmm.
really nice to have so many bases covered that
Mm.
you could always find something to connect with someone. It lets you meet a new people,
Oh,
you can
okay.
always
Okay, that makes sense. I somewhat relate to that, not because I moved around a lot, but because I wouldn't talk to a lot of people up until a certain point of time. Eventually, when I did start talking to people, something that I did notice was that people would look at me and be like, "Hey, bro, how do you know so much about this? Hey, when do you like?" They were sort of fascinated that why do you know all of these things? Like, how much time do you have in your life types? So this is
a
this
lot.
almost validation that, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. I know all of these things that I can engage with different people on different topics.
Yeah.
So yeah, not the same thing, but I somewhat relate as well because I did get that response, and it was very foreign to me initially. I'm like, "What do you mean? Doesn't everyone know this?" And I'm like, "Oh no, no, some people don't." So yes, coming back to what was I saying?
Your hyperfixations.
Current hyperfixations. Yes, I've been obsessed with. So I had a brief period of slight, small obsession with philosophy a while ago. Just like all the different philosophical schools of thought that are out there, and the sort of work people do, what these topics are, what they talk about, because these are things that you do sort of wonder on a day-to-day basis. You may not have the same uh, words and categorizations. For example, hyperfixation, like we've all done it, but I didn't know because now I know the term. So it was pretty cool to learn a lot of these things. But now I was I've been really fixated on Indian history and on a broader level, sociology and evolution of societies in general. And it is so fascinating because I have thought of, like, because every society evolves at a certain pace and because of certain events, and everything is chronological. You saw, because I sort of take the world as it is for granted, but then when you start to unpeel all the layers and go back 200 years ago, 300 years ago, 400 years ago, there have been specific events that happen in history that sort of change how society functions as it is. Like we live in a world with a government, laws, and all of these. Then you rewind maybe like 500 years ago, and none of this existed. And okay, rewind 1,000 years ago or 2,000 years ago, you go back to evolution. Let's say you're in, like, in the age before agriculture was invented. There was a time when agriculture was not a thing. And how would society structure itself that way? And with changes that happen, agriculture society is structured itself differently. Industrial revolutions, society starts structuring itself differently. And there was this Wikipedia article I read, and my mind was blown. Post industrial revolution, about the division of labor. So there's two fascinating things. One, let's say you think about a society which is very isolated, many generations ago, where maybe the community, it's like a tribe or 40 people, 50 people, 100 people. Okay, these are all like people maybe still living in the forest, minor agricultural things, all tribes are there. So the functions of that society are fairly limited. Okay, but what do? You protect yourself, security, you grow food, survive, and you repopulate. So like you have very basic things. So the amount of labor that you're doing is very less. The jobs you have is very less. As you progress, and you have more jobs and the society gets more complicated. Now we have industrial revolution, we have like more people, a lot of people doing a lot of different things. And how do you still function? Like how do you still keep sanity? And it would ideally work on an agreement of division of labor, saying, hey, you know what, you do this, I will do this. Neither of us are above the other. We need both of us to function equally for the society to work, because that is what division of labor is. You do a certain thing so that I don't have to do it, and I'll do a certain thing so you don't have to do it. It's all like we're doing it for each other. Okay, and that's how society that worked on division of labor started. And it shouldn't be a division of laborers. That was a great distinction I saw somewhere, where like you can't have division based on laborer. You can't be like, my job, whatever I do is more important, more than you. Sure, on a very high level you can argue it, but when you think of how we have evolved, society should ideally structure itself on division of labor and not on laborers. And that's when you get into all of these exploitation and classism and all of these revolts and all of this that started. So this has been my current fixation. Also, I branched off into like social sciences. That was a brief of it, but like I'm looking into like Indian history, the era of colonization, and then independence movement, and then like framing of the constitution and all of these things. I don't know. It's just very fascinating, and I may have like a little more personal, uh, what do you say, inclination or proclivity towards those topics anyway. So it was pretty. That's what I'm fixated on now. So.
How so personal?
Hmm? It
How?
was because I've noticed that the way I look at the world at some point sort of changed, and I don't know why. So I come from a very like religious background, religious family, And over time, and at some point I sort of like denounced it. I'm like, man, I don't really care much about it, customs and practices and whatnot. So I wouldn't do much. But like my faith sort of like is not there. Not that it's back now, but so it doesn't. It sort of just waned off. Okay, and I was attributing it to the fact that maybe my parents were very like forcing it on me, and maybe that's why I revolted and I don't want to do it. But that's not the case. My parents never did. They would always tell me certain things and tell me to go do puja, go do namaskar and all. But it was fine. It was never like dogmatic. So my aversion to it didn't make sense. Okay, because it was not because of my parents. So now it's not because of them. What is it because of? Like there has to be some reason. So I'm trying to uncover where that came from. Suddenly I got into the zone where oh, anything that is sort of religious is sort of stupid, or it's not like such a stupid belief. I would not even like say, hey, it's okay, you have your own belief. I would like outright look down upon it for a good period of time, which was not nice. Okay, it was sort of like a revolting period. But then I bounced back, and then I became indifferent towards it, and now I don't care. But I want to know why that happened. That shift happened because of those, uh, maybe number one, schooling possibility. Teachers, kids are influential. You hear a lot of things at school. You learn a lot of different things. Number one could be that. Number two could be the media that I was consuming, because I would watch a lot of foreign content. I wouldn't watch like Indian stuff anyway. A lot of Western shows and movies
Yeah.
and all of these things. So I was always constantly exposed to those that media. So I don't know why all of the like my ideological beliefs why they have changed, but I want to figure out if there's any cause to it, because I don't like whatever I was doing where I would revolt, or my thoughts on a lot of different subjects was not very strong, but I would pretend like they're strong. So this I
Mm,
say that I have a personal inclination towards it because my own thoughts don't make sense to me, and that is not right for somebody. I don't know, something about it seems wrong, because now it feels like someone else has given me this identity, or I've just adopted it from somewhere else without even thinking about it. So this is me trying to unpack the layers, see what's there, call the bullshit out for what it is, and then form better beliefs. That's it.
yeah, I think I also went through similar phases in terms of religion and
Mm,
beliefs. I also initially thought it was because because my parents were forceful about it or were
mm,
so. I think it's also hmm, because I have thought about it a lot too, and I think it were multiple reasons for it. Like you mentioned, media consumption was definitely at it. Second,
mm,
I thought like I saw what religion was doing to people. Like it sort of
mm,
became, it wasn't like people were being driven by religion and
mm.
using religion for things that were not okay.
Right,
uh,
right.
and I think that didn't sit well with me. I'm
Mm,
not like not a particularly religion, but all of the religions were using
mm.
religion as an excuse
Yes.
to do things which I strongly did not agree with.
Mm,
It's I don't know, like it was just a lot of things that I saw,
mm.
um that
I mean, kind
I
of the same. Yeah.
the other thing was that usually all the people that I sort of met with were so strongly um like not influenced, but was so strongly drawn to it that
Mm.
it suddenly for me it lost meaning, because
Okay.
for me personally, like if everyone's doing something,
Mm.
I I lose interest out of it
Yeah, yeah,
very
yeah. No, I have the same
quickly,
thing. Sort of this
because
contrarian point of view, right?
yes, I start questioning why. Like,
Mm.
why do we have to do this? Why does it have to
Yep,
be
same,
this way?
same, same.
So that started doing and happening, and I saw people do rituals,
Mm.
like religious rituals that did not really make sense to me.
Mm.
Because I saw people operate or be religious and perform rituals out of fear. That what
Mm.
if we don't do this? What
Mm.
happens then? And
Mm.
in that, like phase, I realized that I really need to distance myself from it, so I
Yep.
don't have that fear that
Mm,
comes with it, which I know if I would have like stayed in there, it would
mm,
naturally come that, oh, if I don't do this on a Monday,
mm,
things will go wrong. And if things happen to go wrong that day, it would suddenly
feel like,
reconfirm
yeah.
all my beliefs that
Yep.
yes, it went wrong because I didn't do something. It was a lot of those things
Yep.
that were adding up, and
Mm,
it just made sense for me to like distance. Initially it was like a, I
mm,
was bolting against it, that I don't know why you guys, like, why is it happening.
mm,
And then I started distancing myself from it because I felt like I need to form my own beliefs and understand things my way.
yep.
uh, so yeah,
These are
that's
great points that you brought up because I used to feel the exact same way. And there is this great some analogy. I don't remember. It's like saying, you know what? I'm gonna invent a hammer so that construction becomes easier. You can nail stuff. You can remove things easier. Our job just becomes easier, right? It's a tool. It's a tool. It's something, right? A hammer. But you can also use it to go fucking beat up people and do whatever you want. So now, because the hammer is being beat up, people, do I reject the hammer completely, or do I sit and look at the hammer for what it is? So this whole process I'm doing now is also sort of th- in the same vein where I rejected a lot of things because something was being used to do whatever was being done, and maybe that was not the intention. So now let me take that away and look at it for what it is. What was its purpose? How did it start? Why did it become this way? At least then
yeah.
I'll have a clearer understanding.
And I
That's all I
think,
want. I want
yes,
clarity.
and I think you can do it better when you step away from it
Yep.
rather than when you're inside it.
Yes.
Even for
Yes.
me, like I do realize and recognize now and then that the religion also brings like good stuff, because it was initially for it to form communities for people to
Mhm.
um not there's so many rituals like made for the good of people,
Yep.
but turned out to be completely opposite. Like for example, like women not going into the kitchen during their periods were sort
Mhm.
of meant in a way that you rest it out. Now it's sort of like a restriction that
Yes.
no, you don't enter. If you enter, things will go wrong or
Yeah.
bad stuff
Oh
will
my God. It's
happen.
yep.
All of those things, like, so I think it's good that you look at it from an outside
An
perspective
outside point of
rather
view.
than in it. Because when
Yep.
I would look at it when I was in it, it would make
Mm.
me so upset that
Yep.
ew, why
Yep.
none of it like makes sense to me.
Yeah, because that's the lens through which you look at it.
Yeah,
So you need to change
it's
that.
also you're being forced into it and you're in it and you're like, I don't understand why it's happening this way.
Mm.
But when you're out of it, you sort of look at it more objectively, maybe.
Mm.
uh,
Mm.
so it's probably good that you do it now.
Yep. I think it just it'll boil down to the basic fact that you don't want the idea that someone else can, without even actively doing it, tell you how you should be feeling about a certain topic purely because you don't have a stance on it, and you sort of just let that in because there's a vacuum. Vacuum will eventually get filled up with something. If you don't fill it up, someone else will.
Yeah,
So let
that's
me let try to look at it from my own point of
yeah.
view, from a little more
I
objective point of view.
Yeah, honestly, as a kid too, didn't like someone telling me what I should believe in and what
Hmm.
I shouldn't. I
Yep,
used to
same.
question, I still question the fact that the universe is so huge, there is probability of aliens existing higher than God in my
Yeah,
head.
yeah.
And as a kid, I would constantly, like, I remember I wrote in a school magazine, like,
Hmm.
I wrote an article for a school magazine as a kid about it. It didn't get published. It didn't even go ahead because I was like, because I feel like in my head as a kid too, I feel like it's so much more likely that aliens exist
Hmm.
than God existing. And in
Yep.
my head, I would make up stories about maybe aliens are sort of controlling all of us and we are like their Barbies. And every alien has a person
Yeah.
that they are sort of doing stuff.
Yeah.
So in my head, I would make up stories like that, and I liked having my own set of beliefs than having forced beliefs about that. This is the sort of God that you
Hmm.
look at.
Yep.
That's how God is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now it'll, if you go even deeper, then you can be like, okay, what is this God that I like? What is a God? According to me, what is my image of a God? Is it like, oh, some external being that creates everyone? Because that is just one way to look at it, and not
Yeah.
every religion looks at it that way. So every religion is probably looking at God in very, 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 very different ways.
Uh, I think as a kid, I also had that sort of hyperfixation where I was watching a lot of religious stuff and I wanted to read all religion books because it's
Mm.
like I need to know what I'm dealing with here so I can argue better. Eventually, I just distanced myself from it, so I didn't get into it as much because I
Mm.
felt like getting into it will just make me upset
Yeah.
because I know that what people are doing now is not
Dude, yeah.
probably
At some
what's
point, it
in
will
the books.
happen. At some
So
point, it will.
for my own peace of mind, I was like, let's just distance myself from this. I think right now I consider myself like in my head I want to be more like spiritual, maybe that I
Yeah.
believe that the there is stuff in the universe that's
Yes.
happening, and like I want to believe in karma, but I it comes and goes like
Mm.
it to my own uh, liking.
Mm.
But I do feel people link or things in a way work out in certain ways. But then I look at war and people dying, and I was like, I don't know if things work out that way, like for the best. Because
Mm.
why are people dying for the
Yeah.
best? So it just it's
It gets too much. I know. I know. I think at a certain stage, it gets to the point where you see so much around you, and you're like, oh man, like what is the point of me doing all of this? Because you think nothing is gonna make sense. And yes, that is an event. That is a reality. It will
But you
always
could
be there.
always, like, if you believe in God, or let's say if you believe in spirituality or the universe, you can always put it on someone else because then it
Mm.
doesn't feel that intense. That the stuff that's happening, you can always say that it's God which,
Blame.
or
Yeah.
it's the universe doing this. Let's just put it on them. It's not my
Mm.
problem anymore, or
Mm.
it's not that intense.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of the times it is that way.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's my hyperfixation right now.
I do have one suggestion. Maybe
Mm.
that's something like, maybe it's not a suggestion, but it as I realized like I was very into like also reading and getting researching about stuff. So I
Mm.
really liked the dummies books, the how to for dummies in all
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
because
Mm-hmm.
I was very fascinated about them. And in my masters, in my first masters,
Mm.
the library had like tiny books for
Mm.
philosophy, sociology,
Yep. Yep.
different kinds of philosophy fees
I
by
will. I
different
have
people.
exactly the kind of. This is literally called. This book will make you think. It is literally a breakdown of
Uh,
all the different. It literally says this book will make you think philosophical quotes and what they mean. So he goes through all the different schools of thought and gives you like just a brief overview of it, and then you can deep dive on whatever you
yeah,
wanna learn.
that's cool. So,
Yep.
oh,
So yeah, that is my
uh,
hyperfixation. That and law for whatever reason. The law
it's
seems pretty cool.
understandable. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. But that's it. That was a
Maybe a podcast idea would be to get people from different spaces and ask them questions and answer our hyperfixations. That whatever we're hyperfixating on, we get someone and we ask questions. Because I think we can get a lawyer, we can get
yes,
someone who's studying history and like
yes.
different stuff, sociology, and ask questions.
That sounds like a great idea. What a great way to end the episode.
Yeah.
So, good. Yeah, we can do that. We can actually start actively look out for these
We
things
can
now that we have this idea in our head.
psychologists as